Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was drinking a smoothie before I went on, and then sometimes Huel, my bum then tells me that I need to immediately go to the toilet.
What was the smoothie? Oh, was it Huel?
Well, what I've taken to doing is getting those bottles of pre-mixed Huel. And then I use one of those, and then I just add more fruit to it. So it was banana Huel with papaya, and I added like frozen tropical fruits and another banana. So it was all of the fruits basically.
Really doubled down on the banana.
Yeah, and essentially it wasn't quite. I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this, and this is like a dreadfully crass thing to start chatting about. But certain things just make you either you've got to go immediately to the toilet. And I've had this before when I once ate some lovely cooked chorizo sausage. It was just so rich that it just said, "This is too rich for you." And then, and then I just immediately started farting and had to go to the toilet. But the worst one was, has anyone had the aloe vera drink that has the little chunks of aloe vera floating?
No, because I always assume aloe vera is like a type of moisturizer, and I don't want to drink moisturizer.
Well, let me introduce you to a new world of delicious drinks, because it's essentially, I think the main flavour is grape juice. So it just tastes like quite a refreshing kind of drink, but it has these little bits of aloe vera in them. Nothing tastes like a hand moisturiser or anything like that. And they're actually really kind of like, they have the consistency of grapes, these little chopped up bits of aloe vera. So you kind of like munch on them. But my mind is reminding me of so many stories about aloe vera drinks for some reason. But the main one is that I got one, and this guy I used to work with, he was like, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "That's an aloe vera drink." And I explained it to him, and he's like, "Oh," and I said, "Oh, wait there, I'll go and get you one." And I got him one, and he drank it. He's like, "Oh, this is delightful." And 5 minutes later, he just sort of looked at me and went like, "Just ban the phones. I've got to go to the toilet." and he just ran to the toilet, and he just never had one again, ever in his life.
I also feel the same about bubble tea, which is like drinking eyes.
Yeah. Obviously they're everywhere. They're everywhere here now. They're also everywhere in New York. And on occasion, I'm less into the tapioca ones because they are squidgy, and whereas you can buy fruit ones, and then it's like, I don't know if it's like a biodegradable plastic you can eat or something, but essentially they're just little balls of juicy stuff. Okay. So you drink the juicy, and then you like just chomp on the juicy stuff. But they're not quite as bad. But I do agree with the kind of like the traditional bubble tea with like the tapioca little frog spawning things in them. I'm not into that.
I think what we're learning is that I at least have quite conservative opinions when it comes to drinks.
Yeah, I think this also proves something that we already know anyway, which is that I myself, as a child that grew up deep in the 80s and 90s, a child of consumerism, any kind of like different packaging, jazzy,
any novelty,
jazzy label, or anything like that, I am like, I need to try this. So any soft drink, I think, and because I don't drink, I don't really drink, I'm not teetotal. I just don't really like alcohol, and because I obviously still do partake, but obviously used to rather enthusiastically consume a lot of weed. Anything that was like a snack, a sweet, I'm all over that shit. So most people became adults and started drinking adult things. And I just decided that I'm going to keep eating all the chocolate bars, which is why I have diabetes. But like, anyway.
You've given me two furrows in which to direct myself into a story here. In that, also as a child of consumerism of that era, when Power Rangers Ice Pops came onto the market, obviously I had to have them and pestered my mother. They were just ice lollies, but they had Power Rangers on the box. Anyway, it turned out they were taken off the market quite quickly because they had alcohol in them.
Oh. How did that even get to like a point where...
Yeah.
And also like...
Just trying to get kids pissed.
Someone has failed capitalism. Like, that's not how that works. Like, you either pitch them as alcoholic pops, or you pitch them purely as Power Rangers Ice Pops, which do not require alcohol because your target audience is children.
Yeah, you've already got them addicted to it mentally.
That would have made it much cheaper. Like, it must cost more to make alcoholic pops. Anyway, oh my days.
Rita was probably behind it.
Yes. Was
Damn
it
it,
named
Rita.
Rita Repulsar or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a very descriptive name.
And then in the film
You got me.
that came out a couple of years back, they made her incredibly hot.
Oh, really?
Fact for
Well, I
you
mean,
there.
that,
Oh no.
Oh, damn.
But that's like in between that and the remake, the internet had happened, and we know that the internet and DeviantArt is that the thing is have as many make hot versions of things.
DeviantArt is like a whole type of new hell.
I do find something very comforting and also amusing, other words to that effect, that like you just know anything that comes along, you just know that I know that I could type something into Google and I will find pornography of that. When I started that sentence, it was in my head, it was more innocent than it sounded when it ended, because it sounds like I'm like a devil. I'm a bugger for some like weird furry porn or something of like, what's the classic one would be My Little Pony.
Oh, God.
Obviously.
Forgot
Every
that was the thing,
flavour. Yeah, every flavour of like big titted weird pony anime porn is available. But
What big tits that pony has.
yeah. Female horses.
Oh god.
Are they like dogs or cats where like the female has like 6 tits essentially?
I don't know.
Cats?
Ian.
Yeah.
Oh my god! What?
Don't Google it.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, the thing about DeviantArt, I suppose, is at least the ne'er-do-wells have somewhere to congregate. And when I have Googled something, if there's a DeviantArt link in the results, I know not to click it. So it's quite good at self-selecting it that way.
Yeah. But I have to. Look, how
do horses have 6 tits?
Yes, I'm gonna put how many tits.
This is the weirdest Pandora's box that's ever been opened, I feel.
Does a horse have? Well, this is exactly the type of content that the people do not come here for.
Well, precisely. Hopefully this won't be the niche we find.
A female horse, parentheses, mare, has 2 teats, which is, after all this build-up, is very disappointing, to be honest. Each teat is associated with 1 mammary gland and typically has 2 openings, although sometimes 3. What?
Don't know. Don't go any further.
According to some veterinary sources.
Some?
So does that mean...
Why not all or none?
Well, why not just 1? Like, do you need... in case 1 gets blocked? Or maybe that's how all these kind of animals do. I mean, if I scroll further down this page...
But why is it only according to some veterinary... Like, surely they've all seen that many holes, or none of them have.
I was just looking at the page with all the other stuff on it. So it's got the AI overview at the top that told me it has 2 teats. To the right-hand side, it shows, I think, where it got it from, which is an article called...
The AI horse tits overview.
Called The Udder Truth.
Oh,
Do all horses have them? Then there's a Quora question page underneath that with how many teats does a horse have? So people are asking this question.
Is there a Stack Overflow argument about it?
I haven't got there yet, but there is also like, you know, like when it's then in Quora, it will say, oh, these are up, like it'll show you one conversation thread and then some, like a little bit of like blurb on it, like the description, what's been written. And then it has a couple of other links underneath from different places. And the other questions asked is like, why don't we milk horses? Someone's put, do donkeys have udders? Not udders.
A donkey.
It's got two T's. Do donkeys have
like
udders?
A horse?
I'm sure they have something to declare one way or the other.
Hard drive checks for everyone.
I mean, what I'm quite surprised at is that when I click into that, someone has just, in good faith, answered, no, donkeys do not have udders. Udders are specialised mammary glands found in female mammals, particularly in animals like cows, goats and sheep. So hold on, I know like
Is there a girl donkey?
Apparently there is, but it says here, this person's saying female donkeys, which, in parentheses, apparently are called jennies, do have mammary glands, but they are not as pronounced or developed as udders in dairy animals. Instead, their mammary glands are more similar to those of other equines, such as horses. So they do have fucking teats.
Yeah.
But you said no. But anyway, the thing I wanted to point out there is that the amazing thing here is that this is the internet and not one fucking person has pulled this person up on the spelling error, which doesn't feel very internet to me. I mean, surely that'd be the first thing. It should be a whole parade of pricks just going like, oh, actually, it's udders with a D. Anyway. Well,
a double D, if you will.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's horse tits, I suppose.
My search page just goes on to then start getting into Wikipedia articles for just the word teat.
Do you remember Mr. Hands?
What's that, sorry?
Do you remember Mr. Hands? Ben, don't Google that.
Mr. Hands.
No. It's like the first internet urban legend I ever learnt about. Apparently a guy, didn't bang a horse, he was banged by a horse and died because obviously the horse is bigger than a man is meant to conquer.
Than a man is meant to conquer. Is that how that works? That you lower yourself onto someone and take them as
and then you are the winner.
I have conquered you. I just know from Ben's face that he is Googling what you said not to Google.
I'm not. I'm just listening, and I feel like that is context enough.
Yeah, I don't know what more you could take as a descriptor from seeing it. Now you know that the man got banged by a horse. Like, there's not much more.
Those are
the pertinent facts.
Those are the type of stories that kind of, I think, yeah, that there are a few true ones, and then I feel like there's some like urban legendary ones that kind of like circulate around those as well.
I do wholeheartedly believe that a man on the internet would bang a horse, though. Like, I've seen the internet.
Yes, I mean, I've seen the internet, and I had friends that were more into the internet than I was into the internet, as in like probably were operating in the early rumblings of a 4chan, like the something awful and stuff like that before it all kind of went. But yeah, I have unwittingly, by being in the same room and someone shouting my name and then me turning and then pressing play on something on the internet, seen things in my life that I don't want to see, and I've spent a long time trying to unsee them.
Yeah. Not only am I conservative about drinks, I'm also quite conservative in my internet use, apparently. So I've never been to rotten.com. I've never seen a Faces of Death video. Never seen Two Girls, One Cup. I've avoided most of the true brain rot stuff.
Oh, what's the guy?
I did get Tub Girled once. I didn't care for that.
The what, sorry?
I did get Tub Girled once, and I didn't care for
that. Okay.
I don't know what that is, and I'm glad that I don't.
Then Google Tub Girl.
I, for some reason, don't want to. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I don't blame you. Oh, there was Blue Waffle as well. That one got me.
Blue Waffle.
Yeah, I fell privy to that.
I gets around a bit.
Goatsy was obviously like the big one, if you will.
Oh no, the one that I found most disturbing was the guy basically like lowering himself onto a jar.
Oh God, I've seen that. Yeah, that was.
I think that's the most mentally scarring thing that I've ever consumed on the internet. Consumed being that someone showed it to you and you're like, because that's enough one of those sort of like, it's not immediately obvious what's going to happen.
And you can't look away once it starts.
Yes. And because I suppose if you're intensely homophobic, then the sight of a man's penis will probably make you just turn it off immediately. Whereas I'm just like, well, not really for me in terms of like my sexual orientation, but I'll happily watch a man
shove a jar up his ass
into his butt. I've got no problem. Like, as a point of curiosity,
I've seen Jackass. I'm used to it.
Exactly, like, and a naked penis is not going to deter me or scare me away or anything.
No,
like
I'm well aware of what they look like.
So therefore, if you go like, oh, God, you're a bit like, okay, God, what am I watching now? There's a man lowering himself, and then it starts to happen. You're like, well, now I'm almost interested as a sort of like this is almost becoming impressive,
kind of a cliffhanger as well at that point.
Just like a jam jar. Like, how the fuck? Like, I don't even understand how I would get a jam jar inside myself. Then science and physics take place, and you're like, okay, well, what just happened there proves that a jam jar should never be inside yourself.
Should never be, you know? Did that man have a particularly strong sphincter muscle, or was that a particularly thin jar? Or is it both?
I feel like it's both.
Oh, yeah, maybe, but like I just think the amount of power
in one man's
powerful
ass.
Sphincter, the power contained in that man's ass is too much to comprehend.
It's like those hydraulic press videos.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's. I mean, if only it wasn't something so disturbingly dangerous and painful. Like, you could probably do a good, like, weird sort of crossover OnlyFans where you're getting the people who are just a bit pervert who would enjoy that thing on a sexual nature, but also you could get people like me who'd be like, I just want to see this man like maybe like crush different fruits with his anus.
Yeah, I think at one point it would be as funny as it was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. You'd kind of learn things about the structural integrity of like a of a butthole and other fruits. But now that I've thought of that, I have, as does with everything in my mind, goes back to some sort of comedy show from my youth. Now I'm just thinking of the Shooting Stars game where at the end where they got Mark Commode to stand on a plinth with like a tiny little plastic shield, and then they put fruits on strings and then like swung them towards him, and he had to like deflect fruits. So it started as like a plum, and it kept going up, and it got to like pineapple, a watermelon. And then because this was the 90s, the last one was an old fruit. And then they produced a man on like a wire who was just wearing like a purple suit with a cravat, and he looked like Lionel Blair or something. And he went, ooh, and then they swung him at Mark Commode.
Oh, the title of this episode needs to be The Structural Integrity of a Man's Ass.
I can't wait to put that on Instagram.
You're looking very trim, Ian. Trim? I got a white t-shirt on, probably. I shouldn't be, because I've been like, we did a lot of walking, but I've really been, as I've mentioned on more than 5 million occasions. Did you know I have diabetes? I've not been following a diabetic safe diet whilst I was in the Costa del Sol.
Go.
I have eaten many delicious things. I have eaten many more sugary things than I should sort of have. So I should have put on weight. I think that I'm also sitting down and I'm facing you face on. If I turn to the side, things would start to sort of just balloon outwards, which, yeah.
How was your holiday? Did you enjoy?
I did enjoy. It's obviously, it's interesting, isn't it? And I'm going to field this question from many people in my team tomorrow, which is going to be, are you feeling refreshed? And I'll be like, no, I'll be honest, I am mortified.
Yeah, I hate the idea of being here.
But I'm back here.
More so than when I left.
You've got to obviously understand or remember that this is a kind of like a holiday city. So it's not really like, there's not loads of commerce going on. There's not loads of people going into work in offices and stuff. So everyone is kind of operating on a more chill level. But it's also Spain. So there is a certain chillness about things bearing the heat and things closing down in the middle of the day for an hour or so.
Yeah, of course.
So I also have many of those kind of feelings of like, oh, are we really meant to be doing stupid bullshit corporate stuff, or should we be like swanning around in the sun?
SBCS.
Yeah, in my tiny shorts that I bought lots of very jazzy. I was very jazzy on holiday, very holiday like. I had many jazzy swim shorts that I wore to places.
Are they above the knee?
Lots of stuff. They were above the knee. Yeah, all my shorts are above the knee. Broadly, they're just above the knee. But then, like, if they're everyday kind of like shorts, I don't like to edge into jorts territory.
No, that's fair. See, I am
or shants.
I'm a very like strong proponent of like the 80s running short that comes at best halfway down the thigh. I think we need to bring those back.
80s running shorts. I'm just Googling now. Okay.
It's like any 80s horror film where there is a camp counselor will be wearing the sort of the short.
Yeah. From a camp, not a camp.
Yes, rather than
because the shorts could go either. The shorter the shorts get, perhaps the camper the counselor gets.
But the shorter the shorts, yeah. And it was the era of men wearing crop tops as well. So you have to double check these things. Ben looks horrified.
I think what I would like to normalize is, Ben, if you just search for, because this is a new part of this, is old men, Ian and Mark, suggesting things for Ben to look at and then watching his face. But like, if you Google, or if you remember from memory, maybe if you're into the films, but if you look at Rocky III, when Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa are running down the beach, having way too much fun for people that should be working out for a fight, skipping about gaily and hugging each other.
There's a lot of like skipping involved in fighting, to be fair. It is like more than one way.
They're wearing crop tops and they've got like classic 80s like running sports shorts on.
I mean, honestly, that looks fine. I think from my perspective, like, hell, I would wear this if I was like as jacked as they were. Like that's literally the only thing that's stopping me, because like
it is the jacked man's fashion.
Yeah,
and back to Spain. I mean, there's a lot of like kind of like intrinsically hot people there. Let's say about the lifestyle. So there's a part you can literally tell where people are from when you're walking down the beach, because you're like, that man is fat as fuck. He's from the UK. This man is tall as fuck. He's from fucking Holland or Scandinavia somewhere. And that guy has like glistening muscles and he's all tanned. Oh, he's from here. Like he's Spanish or something. So because there is directly a correlation with your hotness and how little clothing you will wear. This is something that me and Connie sort of observed, which is no great revelation that the hotter you get, the more muscular you get, the more you are kind of like, just take my top off.
Ben, your use of the word jacked has just reminded, this is a bit of a conversation topic skip, but someone sent me, I don't know if this is from The Guardian or whatever, but it's about Fantastic Four, the film. It's just a screenshot of a bit of it that reads, one person wrote on X, Fantastic Four is a masterpiece. The visual effects and the score are a huge standout. Galactus is huge in IMAX. It's emotional and it gives you hope. It beats you off and doesn't stop. Stay until the end credits.
That's not the first good headline I've heard to do with Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four are obviously doing a crossover thing with Fortnite, which
are they?
Obviously they need to. And so they're obviously releasing skins for this. And there was maybe they were just like, maybe some editor was just like, they were just talking about going, well, there is no way for us to write it that isn't going to sound as it sounds, which is Fantastic Four skins available now in Fortnite.
You'd have to go with Fantastic Fortnite skins.
Yes. Fantastic Four movie skins.
Character.
Anyway.
Costumes.
So maybe they did it on purpose.
I hope so.
You have to use word skins because that is the accepted
the common parlance
for what you are buying. But I mean, speaking of films, Ben, you are the only one of us that has been to see Woker Man.
Oh,
so what?
It's so great.
Is he woke, Ben? Ben, is he woke?
I mean, like, the thing is, though, right? Like, I suppose by like any of those other people's like type of judgments, I suppose he would be woke. But like, I can't stress enough. There is an undercurrent of something, but I think it's unreciprocated. It's like, it's basically, and I will get back to the point of like the whole Superman review, but like how previously in lots and lots of like, well, not lots and lots, because this was just like in the early 2000s, so it's very much like underground. But like there are a couple of shows where like there are two people of like the same I just suppose gender, and like they're really, really close friends, and then there's like that trope of like one of them just like being in love with the other one, but the other one's like super like just like not even like realizing or just like oblivious. That's how it feels a little bit, because it's really funny because like, and it'll be very, 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 very light spoilers, but basically you start the movie with like Superman has revealed himself to the world in like for 3 years, so he's been doing this for 3 years, and
he's out, as it were.
Yeah, he's out. He's been dating Lois Lane for about 3 months, so that's ongoing. And there's this very, very, very fantastic like monologue by Lex Luthor later in the movie, and I'm like, it's very much, you can hear the words, you can hear him just like how much he hates Superman, but like I was looking at it, I was watching, like, bro, you are in love with Superman. Like there is no way to put this.
Superman.
Yeah, like,
he wants to bum Superman.
It honestly, like, there, and I can't go into other reasons as to like, there are other bits within the movie that would spoil other bits, but like there are bits that I'm just like, okay, like there's that level of obsession is just like obviously not healthy, but also like, I know what you are, Lex.
So before you get on to tell us a little bit more about your review of it, let's all have a little bit, like, do we think that I could search now and find lots of shipping content with
before this movie came out, absolutely.
with the new property? I mean, absolutely. I'm sure it exists already.
100%, yes. 100%.
Something to do later, maybe.
You could always go to AO3.
But yeah, Ben, you're the one amongst us that actually has opinions on superhero films. So
I do. Yeah, no, generally, I feel like and I don't want to go too much into this because like those lot are still like lingering on the internet, and if you say the name of the director of a previous Superman franchise,
I see. Yeah, I don't know why the beef, but I know it's intense.
But like I think the best way to describe it is just that like there at some point there was a need for like, need is a strong opinion. In my opinion, it never was needed. But there was almost like a commercial expectation that there needed to be like some stoicism or some type of just like gravitas and seriousness with the superhero movies, in the sense that they kind of forgot like what like the genre that they were in was, and like it would come through like with stylistic choices and just like with like some of the acting and some of the stuff. Superman.
What you mean? Like you mean like Superman smashing people through like buildings and like leveling whole city blocks and generally being like completely,
or Superman like
the antithesis of Christopher Reeves, if you will,
and like like Superman aura farming while like a court explodes like around him and he doesn't save anyone at all. That type of thing. This Superman is the exact opposite of that. It is so light. It is so like colorful. It is just so like, I felt like I was watching a comic book. That is probably the best way to describe it. I was shocked at like the like color, like the actual like, not even color correction, but the color styles. Everything was so bright and so vivid. Like the sky was so blue. It was so nice to see.
It's very James Gunn, isn't it?
It was so nice. Like, it felt colorful to the point of saturated, but it's because of like all the other like movies that I've seen in the comic book space are allergic to color and light, so that like it felt saturated, but it just was normal. And again, this is like the only tiny caveat that I will say, and it's not even a spoiler, but something that really, really stuck out to me is just that like, with this Superman, like he really, really like put like the hope and heart into everything, that he was trying his best all around, like to an extent, like quite early on in the movie, there was like this really, really big monster while like all the other people are just like saying, oh yeah, you gotta kill it. He was trying to find a way, and like he was saving everyone. He saved a fucking squirrel. Like it was just like that. It was just, it was so nice. So like, I left watching Superman just like, I felt like, I don't know, my batteries had been recharged. It was so nice.
I watched a review of it, which had some light spoilers, but exactly what you were saying there, and I don't believe it really is a spoiler to talk about the big monster thing, because it's in the trailers. You see it in the trailers, so you know he fights a big monster. But yes, exactly what you said, how he's trying to ensure that no one gets killed by the monster. He's trying to ensure that the monster doesn't get killed because it's so not its fault. And he's also apparently also tries to ensure that like when he kind of knocks the monster out or something, that it doesn't fall on anyone. Yeah. So it's like there's and me and Connie were discussing this, and isn't that just the most? I don't know whether he meant it, but that surely is a massive dig at Snyder, saying, "Look, we can have this. We don't need to like obliterate everything, every building within like a mile radius because Superman is tough and needs to punch someone through a building." Like it just, they were saying that it is about like, it is more back towards the kind of Christopher Reeves style of Superman that I grew up with. And I think there's a more interesting kind of like thesis. Someone better than me, maybe Ben, if you ever finish your Sinners script, you can write this. But, but like a thought piece on like, and someone was hinting towards this, like how much of an effect on society has it had switching away from the colourful, happy, morally kind of like more pure versions of Superman, superheroes that we used to get when we were growing up, the hopeful ones, to this kind of like dark, you know, constantly like I'm not saying it's their fault, but like, you know, did they basically ruin the world by making everyone sad and everything had to be dark and angry and depressing? Whereas really all we needed was Christopher Reeve in some stupid pants flying around and trying to save people in sort of slightly comical ways.
We've spoken about the post 9/11ing of media before, haven't we? But there seems to be now a post 9/11 media where saturation and hope is coming back into it. And hopefully between like the aesthetics of this Superman and what they did with the Spider-Verse movies, I'm low-key holding out hope for an actual good feature-length X-Men adaptation. I don't know if it'll happen.
That'd be so good. Mark, X-Men is too woke. I don't know what you're saying though. X-Men is way too woke. I don't think it would.
Well,
I just want a good Gambit. The last good Gambit was the 90s animation.
That's been surely, apart from the comic strip, that's been the only good Gambit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who else has even played Gambit? Wasn't it going to be
that was
Channing Tatum at one point? Or did he actually play it?
I think he was. Yeah, was it in one of the Deadpool films?
Yeah. Apparently, his like the accent is like legit. Like people.
Yeah, apparently
like,
he was quite good at it.
Like fair. Yeah. But yeah,
I do enjoy a Cajun accent.
Yeah.
Maybe they should get that stale cracker guy that I watch. He should be the new Gambit with his blonde mullet, just shouting about couillon and being a proper Louisiana Cajun or something. Anyway, but you're saying about like color,
yeah.
And I started playing last night. I went back and played Destiny 2. Started playing Destiny 2 because they've released a new DLC, so that means that the final shape, the last one, is now reduced to like 10 quid.
Oh, sick.
And I'd already bought Lightfall, and I'm like, okay, well I'll go. I finished a new video about the World of Warcraft single assist button, so I put that up, and I was like, I just want to play something different for a while. And I was like, wondering what I'll do next. So like, I was like, I'll do that. They're reduced. So I started playing it, and I'm playing through Lightfall, which is the not so great expansion before the final shape, which apparently is quite good. And now they've got this new one, which I'll get into in a moment. But the reason I mentioned it is that I was just playing it. I was like, oh, everything's just so colourful and nice to look at. All the environments are sort of like fantastical, and it adds to why I play Destiny 2 in the first place, which is I do not like Call of Duty. I don't like anything that really glorifies fucking real life military shit. I know that those fucking pricks in the American military have like signed off on all those fucking games, and it's all tied together. And so, but I do admit that shooting big guns is fun, especially in video games. Mm. And so I've always kind of loved Destiny because it's like in this sci-fi setting, it's kind of removed from it removes it from me personally as a as a big fucking woke person. It removes the kind of like the horrors of war, because it's like, for some reason it's okay if I'm shooting an alien in the face, but not if I'm what's the famous, like, one of the recent Call of Duties where you're going through like a trailer park or something, and people like come out there like caravans or something, go like, oh, what's going on? And it flashes up on like the thing to subdue them, and you subdue them by aiming your weapon at them or something. Like, it's I like it. I like it that it's fantastical. I like that it's sci-fi. I like sci-fi anyway, but it was that when I was just looking, I was like, oh, everything's so colourful. It's just nice to look at, and it's nice to sort of be sort of within that. And I feel like that's a similar thing to, like you were saying about watching like Superman. I don't want like a desaturated. Like, when was it in gaming where everything became sort of slightly brown?
Yeah, it was around the Metal Gear Solid Sons of the Patriots or whatever, was it? Like that kind of mid to late 2000s.
That couldn't have been a limitation with like palettes, with the, because if anything, if you got to like PlayStation 2 or PlayStation, you had more colours.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't limited to colour. So it was a definite
stylistic choice.
Yeah, aesthetic choice to make everything look
brown.
Metal Gear Solid brown.
I mean, that's why I liked Mirror's Edge so much, because it was like super sunny. It was just like a really nice day out.
It's like running through like a polystyrene city.
Yes.
Ooh.
Everything's just white.
Wait, I do have
like,
Mirror's Edge. Oh, thanks. That just reminded me. Thank you. Yeah. I completely agree. I feel like some of my favorite games have just been because of like the art direction, and just like they're so in your face, like with color and style and just everything, and it just makes me so happy. I suppose there is a place for like some like desaturation and just like some like almost like a grayscale type of thing, but if I were to hazard a guess and to look through my games and just like all the media that I've watched, I bet I would probably see a lot more with like color and just like really in your face like type of designs, rather than like something desaturated. But
I mean, Dark Souls was always quite sort of kind of grim and dark, but actually, in the latest one, Elden Ring, like I would argue that it does have that kind of like, how can a game be like desaturated but yet really colourful and bright at the same time? There's so much shit that sparkles and like looks like kind of ethereal. How can a game, and I mean maybe this is just a sort of a nod to just how good the design was on that game, but how can a game be both depressingly sort of like dark and colourful and pretty at the same time?
Yeah.
But how is if we turn back to creativity for a moment, Ben, how is your script going? Where are you in your process for Sinners?
So,
we're all waiting for it.
That is very true. So admittedly, there was a little bit of a pause, purely because what did I watch recently that really got me like sidetracked? I started watching Veronica Mars with Lucy, and we watched like 2 seasons of it. Like, oh, this is really good for an early 2000s show. And I just like didn't really do anything, and then I got COVID, which wasn't fun.
Oh yes,
that was rough.
Was it bad this time, or?
Well, I would say it's pretty much the same as the time that I had it the first time. That I felt like kind of run down at the beginning, and then the fever hit, and I was like, which was like so rough, because like I was feeling like I was freezing, but like whenever like Lucy just touched my forehead, I was just like burning alive. So it's just like, oh, that's not great. So like I tried doing some reading and stuff like that, and it did not go well. In the end, I just like watched lots of YouTube videos and felt very sorry for myself. all that is to say is when it comes to the Sinners video and the actual like script within itself, it's going well. I've covered the music portion. I've covered some of the historical context. I've been trying to like record the bits that don't make me sound like I have a massive hate boner for Marvel. But it's been a little bit hard because like there's a really
lean into the hate boner, Ben.
Yeah. Hate is a legitimate metric on the internet.
That is true.
That is true. You can make
stop
stuff
beating off the hate boner and don't stop.
I think there's like a really, and at the moment it's a tenuous connection because like I haven't really had the proper wherewithal or just like the words to like really flesh it out. But I feel like there was a really like interesting connection between like the narrative and the story from what Ryan Coogler has been saying for some of his other creative projects, e.g. like some of the Creed movies, Black Panther. I have a bone to pick with Black Panther, particularly the first one. But when it comes...
Say more?
Say more. It's really interesting that, like, I suppose, like, when there is a movie about, like, a Pan-African state, like, kind of just, like, keeping to itself and also just, like, keeping its resources and just, like, having like, some, like, internal schisms that, like, historically, when there have been detailed recordings of like, you know, the CIA destabilizing black communities, that the CIA agent was actually like, you know, the hero within Black Panther 1. It's interesting because like there is something about like having special forces or like the American empire having a representative of that person being the good guy. And also be like, hey, this is the friendly CIA agent who's here to help.
Friendly neighborhood CIA.
Yeah, no, precisely that. And like,
But America are the good guys.
That's true. They do spread freedom. That is true.
They've never done anything wrong.
That's true.
Forced.
I think there's also just something on top of that. And like, again, this is going to be in the video, but again, there was something on top of that when you realize that Marvel themselves cozy up with the U.S. military just for like some of like do
you mean
access
of cash?
Yeah,
is that what you're trying to say?
Access, cash, that type of thing. It's just like then when you start to think of like how much can a message truly be like freely given under that guise, and like when you're under the thumb of a corporation. However, in Sinners, it's so much more fun because like it's very, very clear that like there are facets of like religious trauma. There's also just like there's like that tiny element of just like someone really being creative and embracing that their creativity and spirit, like how it comes like from their ancestors and from like a spiritual perspective. And like one side is just that like, oh, you don't want to do that. That's a little bit too demonic. Like, don't go there. You can bring in some bad stuff. But also, like, on one hand, it's talking about like, hey, stay with the church. Come back to church. You'll be absolutely fine. If you stay with the church, nothing can cause you harm. But there's also
have they not seen Spotlight?
That is a very good question. But like the reason why I'm bringing this up is because like I feel like with Sinners it is a lot freer. Like Ryan Coogler has a lot more like power to just like really just like tell his story, and like instead of like a character being like the good little boy and just like staying at the church and just like putting down like the secular ways. Yeah, there's a lot of pain. There's a shit ton of shit that happens in the movie, but like Sammy does embrace it. And like, again, I don't want to spoil, but like, even though there's a shit ton of pain and things that happen, like he has a much more fulfilling life because of like, he embraced the thing that like everyone was saying, hey, don't do it. It's too dangerous. It's too out there. And I think it's the reason why I'm bringing this up and specifically Sinners and Black Panther is because like it feels like Black Panther was made because like it was a vision that like Ryan Coogler wanted to have, but it was very much under the guise of Marvel and under the thumb of Marvel. While Sinners was very much the like, you know what?
Coogler.
Yeah, exactly. And it just feels like a so much truer movie and vision and message, but I don't really know how to say that without being like, I fucking hate Marvel. Because like, I don't. There are some really fun movies, but like watching those two movies side by side, I'm like, oh, there's a real creative difference here.
Yeah, but I would say it's not that you hate Marvel. If we steer it back and think of this another way, especially you, Ben, this is one of your favourite subjects to hate on, which is it's not really Marvel as such. It's just that you hate fucking capitalism and corporatism, and that's what Marvel is these days. I mean, when they got developed or created whenever Marvel started knocking out comics and stuff, I don't know whether it was being, a cynical thing of like, we must own everything, and you're talking about Marvel, the corporate entity, which is operating in this day and age, which is get all the IPs, hold on to all the IPs, strike people down, all that kind of bullshit. Like you said, kind of put their thumb on the scale of where he could go as a director, as a whatever, and so you could afford yourself. You could be kinder to yourself and say you don't really hate Marvel. You hate Marvel. just not that Marvel.
Yeah. Also, who gives a fuck if people think you hate Marvel?
That's also legitimate. Yeah, but I think that what I hope is that I think there's some interesting points here. So I hope that the algorithm is generous to you when it comes out, because obviously, I think that the interesting thing here is that it takes time to create something thoughtful and meaningful. And especially when you have a job, and all I can think is that like part of me wants you to get it out as soon as possible so that you can try and catch the wind in the sails whilst people are still talking about it, which potentially is already...
I feel like it's already gone. However, I've thought about this. There, definitely, it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be up in the running for the Oscars. So, like a little bit of planning.
Well, you're.
Oh no! I wish. I
believe in you.
But no, sinners themselves. So, like, I want to give myself grace, and I want it to be out and like actually on YouTube by the end of August.
New idea for you, Ben, because we know what's going to fucking happen when the Oscars come around. It might get its name in there, and then it'll get fucking snubbed, and there'll be a big buzz about why it's been fucking snubbed and why that might have been. Finish your video before then.
Done.
Hold it, and then release it like one of those weird Japanese lanterns or something. At the point when it gets snubbed for an Oscar, release
Make it go viral,
and then ride the second wave.
That's true.
Furious rave.
That's true. But at least put it on as unlisted so I can watch it because I'm impatient.
Fair.
You should do that anyway, because we can watch it and then we can give you some pointers, which you probably shouldn't listen to, because then I don't know.
No, please do. I haven't made a YouTube video in like fucking years, so like any pointers that you can give will be very, very helpful. So
I did go and watch Thunderbolts recently, and I hated it because Marvel are now only allowed to tell one story because the CIA is involved, and so there is a problem born of your job. Things happen, and ultimately, doing your job properly will make you much happier at the end. It is capitalist realism in a cape.
Yes, I do. I mean, obviously, we are men of ideas.
We are, yes.
I do believe that we should also, at some point, which I think we've floated before, but look at like teaming up to make some form of video about something, combining all of our skills As in my mind, I very much imagine it like the beginning of the Captain Planet intro.
Oh my god! I saw earlier they're doing a reboot of Captain Planet on Netflix.
Are they?
Are they? Oh my
The tweet
God.
said that he's going to find out about NFTs and generative AI and kill himself.
Real.
You know, I will be fascinated because you cannot say that even presented in its 90s way that Captain Planet, by the standards that fucking feckless morons set, is immeasurably woke. Because it just worries a little bit about the planet.
Although the responses to this tweet were all that it was going to be woke. It's like it was environmentalist propaganda. But these are the same people that didn't realize what the fuck was going on in Final Fantasy VII, and eventually, in the last year or so, realized that you were playing as an eco-terrorist group. Like, hang on a minute, this is woke. Like, yeah, and it has been since sort of like the mid-90s.
Exactly. Well, I am gonna be very interested to see in what kind of route that goes, because it doesn't. I mean, you said it earlier, Ben, about like Superman being woke. It's like, well, it's not woke. It's just what other people are calling woke. It's just Superman now is just a nice guy.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, he's got some manners.
Oh, he doesn't swear as well. It is the cutest thing. But yes.
Anyway, I think that one thing I will say before we go is that, and this is to show that, you know, you can reverse the deterioration of your own mind if you put your mind to it. And what I will say is that, look.
Hey, oh my God.
I've read.
You're reading again?
I read a chat, and this only happened over like 2 days. So I've learned to read again. Not like I've learned to love again. I've learned to read again. It probably does help that this is Gary's book.
Yeah.
And I've just got up to where essentially he gets his first. This is the thing. Me and you, Mark, I don't know how much you know, Ben, about Gary Stevenson, but I'm sure we've both heard the stories in this book.
A million.
In numerous interviews. So he's basically got to the point where he's just received his first like major full year of like being a trader bonus, where he got like, what was it, 390 grand or something. So, and it's interesting because obviously, well, it's interesting. I'm looking now. It's got a fucking quote for Rory Stewart on the front of the book. Fucking bun
That's where
that
water wouldn't.
cunt. But like, it's, you know, even when you're reading this, you're like, you knew it was never going to end out like he was just going to just continually be a trader, because of his background and stuff. Like when he receives that bonus, and he just like the first thing he kind of thinks about is just that his dad works in the post office and earns like 20 grand a year, and he was already earning like 15 grand more than his dad for his base salary of 35, and now he's got like getting up for £500,000 worth of money. And so I now don't know when I'm going to get through the rest of that. But kids, if you thought, well, not kids, old people, if you thought that you had lost the ability to read analog media, you can get it back. You might have to go on holiday and not have access to your PC and therefore World of Warcraft or whatever, but you can read a book and enjoy it.
And what a good excuse for a holiday.
True.
Exactly. That's true. And I'm glad I started with that one again, because I was toying with the idea of taking either this or that book that I've shown to you on a number of occasions, Marks, about the two-tone scar movement and the rock against racism and the whole sort of, which would have been very interesting, but maybe I needed something that was sort of somewhere between fiction and non-fiction, rather than just going straight in with a hardback, a book that is about, it's the size of like a fucking Stephen King novel, that rock against racism book. So I don't think that would have done me much good. So I don't know. I'm hesitant to say I'm back. And I'm not sure that I ever was there. Not since my days of reading Terry Pratchett, to be honest, of which I have, I think, all of his books, and I've read most of them, maybe not the last few. But yeah, it's been a long time since I read a book. And I'm not back in your levels yet. You know, I'm not going to be progressing on from Gary Stevenson's The Trading Game straight to House of Leaves. But yeah, I felt some level of accomplishment and enjoyment of the fact that after a while, it's like I wasn't just reading it to kill time on the flight, at the airport, on the beach. I was actually continuing to read it because I was enjoying it. So maybe there were...
Like, as a neurodivergence haver, it's also like quite difficult it's like the task initiation thing, isn't it? So initiating a task which is entirely based on attention can be something of a struggle.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be able to pick it up and start again, but maybe I'll just have to sort of... I think starting it will mean that there's something left unfinished and I want to know the rest of the story. I don't know how difficult that's going to be, knowing that I kind of know what the fucking story is already. Although I'm hoping that the book gives away more information about what happened to him in Japan than I know. Because he's always seemed to be... I don't know, you went and saw him live, Mark, so I don't know whether he talked about that in a bit more detail there. But like, I know that obviously he had a fucking mental breakdown or some shit. But I think he's deliberately not given as much details as the back end of his career as he has. I know a lot about how he got into trading and how he started like making his money and stuff. But yeah, so maybe I'll use that to power me on, is that I want to kind of know what he's going to do. But yeah, that's just, this feels like, you know, you're my parents reading big boy books, and then I've come along with my little boy book and gone like, look, daddy, I read a book.
Nah, all reading is reading. Genuinely, like I spent like at least half of last year not even reading like real books. I was just reading like comics for just like at least half the year. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I had the capacity within myself just to read something like, I say this in air quotes again, substantial, but like, I think just simply the act of reading, just regardless of what it is, fiction, nonfiction, even something as unserious as comics. Comics can be very serious at times, but like, I feel like not doing it at all is probably like more harmful than like what you would say. Just like, even though you made the comparison about like me and Mark reading like big boy books, or whatever, I don't feel like that matters. I feel like it literally is just the act of sitting down, either reading something that you have written, for example, like, I don't know, Ian, if you have like a script or anything that you usually have, and just like that process of reading and just like understanding the tone and just like the pacing. Like even that is helpful. So like, I wouldn't want you to put yourself down in any way, shape, or form. Just like, yeah.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Good. I want to make sure of it.
I think we might be done here.
Yeah.
I have got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm going to edit this quick, and then I'm going to play Destiny 2 for the rest of the day, and just pretend that I'm gay space lasers in gay space. And try not to think about tomorrow until I wake up tomorrow, and then I feel big sad.
I love how gay everything in your life is for a man that isn't gay.
Oh yeah, the gayest.
It's really uplifting.
Yeah, got to go to work tomorrow. God damn, what a bummer. All right, well, men's emotional support group out for another fortnight.
And don't forget to follow our socials, because I will actually post things on there at some point.
Fuck the socials. We've never updated the socials.
Yeah,
so
there's
we should
nothing
just
on
fucking not worry about that. At some point, we will update the socials.
At some point, yeah.
It's fine though, because there is no Epstein list.
Yes, exactly. If it did exist, it was definitely created by the Democrats
True.
Which makes total sense because that's why Hillary Clinton put
Exactly. Didn't.
her husband
But
on the
it's
list.
just plausible deniability. She was angry about Lewinsky still. She's like, oh no, I'm going to frame him as a nonce.
Yes. I'm going to wait
I'll show him.
how
Yeah,
many
X amount of
years.
years.
My master plan. But yeah.
Imagine all of that in the basement of a pizza shop.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I guess there's nothing more to say than fuck the elites.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Tatty bye.
Bye.